Okay, so this is going to be a probably about a 6-part series, maybe 7, I think, because we're going to build some basic boxes. This series is going to talk about creating website layout using CSS properties. So we'll start by building a couple basic boxes in part 1, and we'll use those boxes in the subsequent parts or sequences to show you how some of the CSS layout methods are used and applied to the boxes. So let's start out by setting up the whole environment for us. Put a folder on your desktop. We're going to use Dreamweaver, and I'm going to go to Dreamweaver and manage a site here. So let's create a new site, and let's call this CSS positioning. Okay, I'm going to create an area on my desktop and put a new folder here and called it CSS positioning. Alright, and select that folder as my area that I'm going to be working in. Okay, so let's just create a brand new blank HTML document. Alright, and you'll see I'm in code view and design view, which is a split look for us. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple boxes. So this first page here, first let's start by saving this as basic.html as a file. So I'm going to say file, save as, and just call this basic. If you're not sure if you're in the site root, you can click site root now that we've defined our site, and it'll tell you, oh yeah, I'm in the right area, so it's going to save it right down here. So hit save, there's my file, and all my subsequent files will be in there too, in the latter sequences that we're going to record. Alright, so let's create a style sheet for this, okay, and link this. Now you can just go straight to file, new, alright, and do a blank CSS file. Alright, let's hit create, and let's save that as styles.css. Keep it nice and simple, all lowercase. Okay, so there's my style sheet. Now all I need to do, I don't need to have the style sheet open anymore. Close it here, and let's link it now. So from the HTML file, I have to link that or attach that style sheet to it. So I'm going to click that little link button, browse for that file. There it is right there. Click OK, that's the one. Boom, now it's added this line 6 where I've attached the style sheet. So now I can easily go and, as I create my HTML and apply styles to it, I can go up to the top where I have a link to that style sheet, and I can go directly to looking at the CSS code there. So I can go back and forth within one file and access HTML code and CSS code. Alright, so let's start by adding a div tag. Okay, so I'm going to do this through the Dreamweaver interface. Go to the Insert menu, choose Layout Objects, and choose Div Tag. Alright, now I'm going to give, it says at the insert point. I'm not going to create a CSS rule yet here. I'm just going to click OK, just to show you, okay, we got a div tag. Alright, and there you go. So now I've got one div tag on line 10 that says, you know, it's added some sample text there for me. Content for new div tag goes here. Alright, now let's add another div tag right after that. So I can go Insert, Layout Objects again, div tag. Right? No styling yet. Click OK. So now I've got two div boxes right here. If I look at them by clicking live, they're just going to be text. There's no styling on them at all. Turn off live. And now what I want to do is I want to apply some style. So the first thing I need to do is assign an ID or a class to that box, to each box. So I have to give it an individual name. So the first box, and I can use ID or class, either one will work. Let's choose ID equals box 1. Okay? Now ID means we're only going to use it once per page, but we only have one box. So the first one is ID box 1. And of course, if that's the name of the first box, why not make the second box ID box 2? Makes sense, right? Now still there's not going to be any change visually. That's just us assigning a name to that div box. And now I can go assign CSS styles to that name, ID box 1. Alright? So you can save as you go along if you like, you know, or the end, whatever you prefer. So now I'm going to go to my style sheet, right? Oh, and let me change the text here. Instead of content for new div tags here, I can type into design view or type into code view. I'm going to type in, I am a beautiful box. Okay. And maybe just look at this color. And in the second box, I'm going to type in, I am a sturdy box. Okay. With nice straight sides. Okay. Now, let's go in there and, change the title. There's nothing more annoying than having untitled document as the name of your page, right? Which shows up in the title bar of the browser. So this one's called Basic Boxes. So as we go forward and do each lesson, we'll have to remember to change the title of the HTML page, of each of the HTML pages we're going to create. This first one being Basic Boxes. All right, so let's go straight to the styling of that document, and let's put in the style sheet ID box 1. Okay, that's the name that we're going to apply the styles to for that first box. All right, use my curly brackets. Now you can do this any way you want. I'm going to open and close my curly brackets so I know my information will go right inside there. So I don't forget to close those curly brackets, because those are where all the properties will go. All right. So the first piece I want to put in there is I want to put in a background color. Okay. What happens is sometimes when you do that though, that little step that I did, code hinting gets turned off. So if I go backwards here and if I hit enter like that, you see what happens? I get code help. So as I type and I say background, I can actually go to the actual one to make sure I don't make any typos and say, oh, background color. And then I could actually use the little color palette pop-up that shows there and choose that color. Or I can say, oh, you know, I know what color I want. It's going to be pound, and still giving me pop-up help code, which is fine. So maybe I want AC77EC. Well, everyone knows what color that is, right? And of course, semicolon would end each property line that I put in there. So let's put and you can change that color anytime down the line. So let's just put one in there. So I'm going to put a background color in there, and I'm going to add some margin, which is the space outside the box. Okay, margin of about 10 pixels. All right, and let's add some padding of 10 pixels. Whoops. All right, and let's add some height and some width to this box, so it has some proportions and it doesn't fill up the entire browser screen, right? So we've got a height of 200 pixels and a width of 200 pixels. All right, and then close my curly bracket, and it should indent itself to the left. And those are the styles for my box 1. Now let's create the styles for my box 2. I'm going to save myself some typing, and I'm going to highlight all of that. You got to make sure you get that ending curly bracket too. And I'm going to copy and paste that. You know, I can go directly into all code view right now just so you can have more space to see everything that's up there. And I'm going to paste that and change this next box name to box 2. And this next box is going to have a different color so we can tell the difference. And it's going to be F66, which is kind of a truncated shortcut. And if you look later, we can see how that is done with HTML color coding. All right. All the other things are going to be the same. The margin, the padding, and the width and the height. They're all 200. So we don't really have to make any changes. So let's save that. Go back over to our HTML source code, and let's look at that. If I hit split screen, oh, check it out. 2 boxes. If I go to live view, all right, let's go to design view so I can see more of it. I can see both of those. All right. Now, if I did a preview in Firefox, I would see the same thing. 2 boxes side by side. But actually, not side by side, one after the other, because the styling that happens on div boxes, that is just standard, which means there's no floats or positioning or the things that we're going to go over next, will always fall one after the other like a page break. Not really a page break, like a paragraph break. So when you hit enter and you're typing Microsoft Word, it kind of goes to the next line. That's the behavior of div boxes in general with no styling on them. So if I put 5 div boxes on my page, one after the other, they will be like this, one after the other in a vertical line straight downward. So that's the way they apply. So that's the first lesson on basic boxes and styling. The next one, which is part 2, you can check for in the same YouTube channel, youtube.com/OC Digital Arts, is going to be Z-index.